All right, well, here we are. It is Friday evening, end of another week at the Capitol. This is Pints and Politics. I'm Mike Weiner,
I'm Drew Peterson.
and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff today.
Yeah, we had an interesting week this last week here.
Yeah, one of the events that took place this week was the flag rally.
Oh yeah, there's a
So,
flag rally down at the Capitol.
yep, Rocks and Cows did a good job of putting that together. Got the media involved there. So just for a little bit of background, there is basically groups that show up at the Capitol every single day, for a variety of reasons. But to get the media to cover anything is pretty tough. So the media was at this flag rally. We were hoping to have a few more people there. It was short notice, Super Tuesday, a lot of things going against us, but a lot of speakers showed up, and it got some press coverage, which was a good thing. Um, I've had my own personal opinion on the flag for a long time.
Oh yeah, we have an episode on that.
We do,
So,
we do.
yeah, go watch that if you haven't seen it. It's I don't know, that one was a lot of fun.
That one was. We were pretty critical of the designs,
Yeah, and then they made it worse.
and then they made it
Then
worse.
they made it worse.
And the speech I gave down at the Capitol was a paraphrase, or I didn't have a whole lot of time, but basically what I said is history repeats itself so many times. And if you look at what happened when settlers and stuff came to Minnesota and how the government treated the Indians then, they basically gave the Indians the worst land around for
Yeah,
the reservations. They fed them, or basically starved them, and they said you have to get rid of your culture. You have to get rid of your you couldn't have long hair. They couldn't have their original clothes. They couldn't have their language. They couldn't have anything. Basically, it's considered cultural genocide.
yeah,
So, and what we're seeing right now, I think, is the exact same thing. Because, and here's why I say that, because when we have last year, we named a highway after Prince, the
okay,
entertainer, right?
yeah,
And what does that mean? You name a highway after somebody that's honoring them. It's
yeah,
honoring their memory, right? But when it comes to the Indians, we're saying, oh, no, no, no. The government right now and the Democrats are saying, we don't want you on our flag.
yeah.
We don't want you where these sports teams are, the high school sports teams and stuff. We don't want you here anymore. So they're actually looking at giving the White Earth Band of Indians 165,000 acres right outside the reservation, which is a chunk of land, right?
Yeah,
This to me screams that cultural genocide that's taking place
yeah.
again. They're not giving the natives land down in the metro.
No.
They're not giving them land in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Why not give them one of the high rises that's sitting empty? But no, they're saying we don't want you on the flag. We don't want you on the sports teams. We don't want you in the homeless encampments down in the metro. We want you to go back up to the reservation. This is the racism, and I say it's cultural genocide that's going on again, and it's by the government that did it in the past, and it's headed up by the Democrats.
So are
You
they
gotta
gonna
call it
bring
what
are
it
they
is.
gonna bring back the you can shoot them if you see seven or more off the res?
I don't
'Cause
think that's a good idea. No,
that's still in the books though. It's
I
still in the books.
understand. But there it is. It's like I said, history repeats itself. And I don't think people really understand. You got to compare it to what's happened in the past. It's the same thing happening again. And the Democrats, I believe they ferment, or they do. They breed on racism, and it's got to be called out for what it is.
Yeah. And it's the racism itself is kind of annoying. It's just like because people are people. I get frustrated because you got a label in front of the person. It's an adjective in front of the nouns. It's annoying. It's
Yeah,
if because you employ people. Do you care what color skin they have or whether or not they can do the job?
do the job.
Exactly. So, but
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to see, and then to have so many people, say, "Well, we need to get rid of this off of the schools, the mascots and the names because it's racist." It's actually racist to get rid of them.
yeah.
It's racist to erase their history and their culture. It just drives me absolutely bonkers. There's a shout out to Ann New, bonkers.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, so the turnout wasn't as big as it could have been.
No, we were hoping for more people to show up.
How many people did show up?
Oh, I never did take a head count. Not as many as there should. There was a press conference that day as well, and there is legislation that's getting put forth. Bjorn Olson in the House is saying, let's put this up to a popular vote.
Yeah.
You know, if you want true democracy, which you claim all the time, then let's let this really go out to the public.
Yeah, no, that'd be nice to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it one of my frustrations was that you guys put it on, or Rocks and Cows put it on Super Tuesday. It's like people gotta go vote in the primary. And again, the short notice thing, like I couldn't make it. It's a 2 hour drive from 2.5 hour drive for me.
Yeah, it is difficult, and you know the capital is. I don't even know the whole process when it comes to um, reserving the capital steps to do a
Yeah.
rally and stuff. They took care of it. This was an opening. Worked out great with the press briefing that was there that day or that was called, and that legislation was put forth. So we'll
That's
see where it
good.
goes from here.
That's good. Yeah, and another thing, shoot, I had it. Yeah, so even if the turnout was kind of lackluster,
Yeah.
we still got how many counties that did the resolution?
Oh,
Because there's at least five that I can name that signed resolutions kind of rejecting this flag in the middle of Minnesota.
yeah. I think at last count there was seven, if I remember.
Seven?
I don't know which ones they were anymore, not off the top of my head, but I thought there was seven on that.
Because I know it stretches from the North Dakota border all the way to Lake Mille Lacs, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like in the middle of the state, just goes right across,
and
which
it's
is,
good to see those resolutions come from the counties.
yeah,
I think that's great. And that, if you want to talk about democracy, well, this is the people standing up and
yeah.
saying, we don't like this. This is the local representatives saying, we don't like this. It's what should be driving those conversations, but
Mhm.
Metro knows best. So here we are.
Well, those resolutions, like when you get seven or five or however many, it makes a statement like this whole area of the state could be an issue.
Absolutely. And I think that's why you see too, there's been articles and stuff in the paper talking about different things and actually denigrating our area. Um, I think they're doing that for a reason,
Yeah.
trying to make us look bad.
Well, it doesn't fix anything because the people who live in the area know the area better. Like,
Yeah.
so you live in Todd County and I live in Wadena County. Like, we know what goes on in the neighboring counties.
Yes, we
Like
do.
we know what goes on in Morrison County because it's a neighbor in Otter Tail County.
There's connections. If
Yeah.
you know, just because you live in Todd County doesn't mean you don't know people in, you know,
Yeah.
Douglas or Wadena or I was over in Morrison today and, you know, same people, good people. You got friends, family,
Mhm.
relatives just across the county line. So, yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting to see like any kind of smear campaign won't work.
great.
At least not in the local area. But in the metro it might, but what's that gonna do?
Yeah.
It's not really gonna do much.
So should we talk about the State of the Disunion address?
Yeah, the State of the Disunion. It's funny. Yeah, so I watched the State of the Union. You got a little bit of it, right?
Little bit of it, and you
Yeah.
know, to quote Joe Biden,
That sounds about right.
no, actually, I think from what I watched, what I heard, he was very coherent this time.
Actually, he
So
was. I was proud of him for that.
I'm not sure what medications he was on, but he sounded really good this time. He did really good, didn't stumble a lot.
Should hook a
Got to give him
brother up.
credit there. It was interesting. You know, it was very much a pep rally. It was a campaign speech, and you know, I wonder if the fact finders will find as much in things as I saw. You know, when he's talking about the economy and how good things are. Um, if that were the case, and then why in Minnesota do we constantly hear from the Democrats where people are struggling, can't pay for their own kids' school lunch, and they need help with daycare because they can't afford to pay it, and yet the president is saying how great the economy is. The other frustrating thing, and we talked about it briefly, was medication.
Yep. Yeah, he brought up, I think he specifically brought up the price of insulin.
Yes, he did. How
And he
many?
promised to cure cancer again. Because I've been watching like 3 years. This is 3 years in a row Joe Biden's promised to cure cancer. He's like, let's get it done. It's like, okay, get it done.
I think that's been talked about for probably 50 years.
I know. It's like, I don't think I don't. I just don't buy it anymore. It's like we're gonna cure cancer. I'm like, great, let's yeah, do it. Give me some more money. Yeah, no, we got enough.
Fixing the price of medication, pharmaceuticals. I mean, how many presidents, how many governors, and how many people have talked about this? Remember, this goes back a ways. They used to have, I don't remember who the governor was in Minnesota, they would take buses up to Canada to buy Canadian pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be, I don't know, 12, 15 years back already.
Okay, I could see it.
And now here we are still saying, we're going to fix this problem.
Oh,
What the heck has happened?
well, wouldn't there be a really easy way to just deregulate it and open up competition to,
Oh,
wouldn't that lower
jeepers.
the price? Or
That sounds like a sort of libertarian-esque idea, and I don't know that we want to go down that road. I'm being
okay.
sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm asking generally like, well, like solutions based, like,
So much of the pharmaceuticals come from other countries anyways. We don't manufacture that much here.
I think we do the research and development
We
here.
do a lot of the R&D on those things, exactly. But then manufacturing, I think India is still a big
Is it?
pharmaceutical manufacturer. But it's really interesting if you watch Robert Kennedy and some of the stuff that he talks about. The Democrats used to be opposed to big business. So
Yeah.
it used to be that the Republicans were the
Mhm.
party of big business. Democrats were the party of the small guy. And there has been this flip, and Kennedy talks about it, and he lays it out very good. He said that I think it was under Obama with the Affordable Care Act,
Yeah.
Obamacare, that the Democrats really got in bed with the pharmaceuticals. And since then, there's been this flip where the Democrats are the party of big business
Yep.
and the Republicans are quickly becoming the party of the little guy.
Yep.
So there's definitely a switch. And I think if you look into campaign finance and you look at all the money that comes from big businesses,
Yep.
corporations, everything else, they're heavily invested in Democrats winning races.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't think they're sincere about fixing the price of drugs.
Yeah. I wonder how they would do that because right now it's just all messaging. Like, what would their plan? I think their plan would just be command economy style because you see a lot more of that authoritarian style from them, from the Democrats, because it's always like, we got to do that and just change the price, just lower it. That's kind of the idea. Or like print more money. That's the kind of level of thinking we see from the DNC.
But when you look at the costs of almost anything in medical, um, and I wish I had looked at the numbers before this, but reimbursement rates for like Medicare, Medicaid are the lowest
Yeah.
of reimbursement rates. So your private insurance subsidizes government insurance.
Okay.
And when you have these sky high prices, basically they're trying to make up their losses on some of these things because of they're losing money on other things. And it's regulation and so many other things that are driving these prices up.
Yeah.
And also big profit margins for the businesses, which that just benefits the Democrats who are getting more and more money from big business. So um yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like they're squashing the competition through regulation and basically through policy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah, something I wanted to bring up from the State of the Union, and again, I've been watching every State of the Union for I don't know, a long time now, just because I like to know what's going on. But Joe Biden, for the third year in a row, brought up Social Security as an issue, which it really kind of isn't an issue. And he's like, I'm going to stop the Republicans from abolishing Social Security. It's like, okay, well, if the Republicans ever do that, like, cool, good for you. But at the same time, no one's doing that. I don't think anyone's calling to abolish Social Security.
He brought up something else, and I don't remember exactly the Social Security, all the
Yeah.
details on that he talked about.
Well, he talks about it like it's under a threat, and it's really nice. Like someone's got to look out for the old people. It's like, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I
well,
get that.
the IVF, did you catch that? In vitro fertilization.
Yeah.
So there was a gal there, I think she had 2 kids or 3 kids, something like that,
Okay.
through the effects of IVF. Well, he was going to protect that, and I'm thinking, Is that under attack at all?
It's not.
It's
I
that
think there's some like fringe people who are into it, but for the most part, it's it's not a it's not like a big deal.
I have never heard anybody in conversation in politics say, "Well, we're going to go after that, people who want to have more kids because that's just wrong." I've never heard this come up before, and all of a sudden he's acting like, they're going to fight. But there again, I think it's that marketing thing. It's the
Yep.
campaign stuff where we're fighting for women, and everybody's going. I don't hear that many people stopping this. Um,
Yeah.
for most of the part, the Republicans are the party of
Life.
big family and
Yeah.
life. We we understand that you want to have more kids. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody is saying anything
Yeah.
against that.
And aren't you the one who wants to take some money and like give to pregnant mothers?
Oh, I think it'd be
Like
phenomenal
support, some kind of support for pregnant mothers?
if we can get funding for it to help out pregnant mothers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's absolutely
So if
crazy.
anybody loves women, it's Mike Weiner.
Let me clarify. I love my wife, and I think having kids is a great thing.
Okay, I should rephrase. Support women.
Okay, there we go. That sounds a lot
Like
better.
I guess, yeah.
I love my wife. I love her very much. Love you.
Yeah, no, the in vitro thing is just weird because I've heard it on some other people talk about it. It's just kind of like a passing thing, and people are like, yeah, no. Like,
Well, I think they're trying to solidify their base by saying we're fighting for women's rights. At the same
yeah.
time, let's back that up a little bit. What's happening with sports?
Oh yeah.
With the transgender stuff, and here they're actually, crushing women's sports. Are they really defending women's rights when it comes to that?
Well, trans women are women. I think part of the thing is that it's just
Awkward
this,
silence.
yeah, right. This gender ideology stuff is so confusing. I can't keep track of it. You have we want women's rights. Okay, well, what is woman? Well, we can't tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, they've forgotten what a woman is, but they're fighting for women's rights.
Well, just to have you know, that was one book that I'm reading now.
Which
Gender
one?
Identity.
Who's it by?
I don't remember the author. I'm bad when it comes to that. It's on my desk.
That's
Started reading it because I wanted to learn more, and what I realized is that this is so confusing that I don't think anybody understands it.
it's not worth the effort. At least to me, it's not.
Well, it kind of I wanted to get some insight as to
Yeah,
why and what's going on here. But when it's so, just per person, it can change so greatly that you can't define hardly anything when it comes to this. And if you can't define it, then how do you classify it and how do you,
yeah.
um,
It's very
work with it?
broad,
It's
and it's really confusing. So for me, I guess I don't find any value in it. I just don't waste time. If someone wants me to use certain pronouns, I'll just address them by name. I feel like that's good enough.
Yeah. Well, there again, I don't think you can dictate somebody else's
Yeah.
use of the English language.
No,
I have a problem with that.
you
And then
can't.
if you're writing a letter or discussing somebody, I mean, the English language is set up for a reason. They, them means more than one. So if you
Yep.
identify and you want to use the pronouns they, them, that means more than one.
I
Um,
might be offended by that because I don't think I'm that heavy.
well, I can't say the same thing.
Yeah, but you're not a they them.
I am not a they, them.
You're a singular person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're not that heavy either. Plus,
But,
you go to the gym more than I do.
well, I'm
You-
working
You're
on
doing that bulking phase with the muscles, the heavy
it.
lifting.
I gotta
I'm,
do some
I,
losing weight stage. I'm working
oh,
on
that's cardio. I don't know. I'm just not. For anyone who wants to know, I'm not doing any line drills with Mike.
it.
I'm not ready for that. I'm all
Oh,
busted knee
shoot.
again. Yeah. Well, you were talking about. Shoot, we kind of fell off track there.
And we
Sorry.
did. We got, yeah, way off track here.
Way off track because. Yeah.
So
Well,
we
we were
were,
talking. Well, you mentioned dictating speech.
right.
Someone actually got arrested after the State of the Union. Some
Yes.
guy, and I'll have like
So
a headline
was it
here.
heckling or what?
Yeah,
Did you see it? Did you?
I didn't see the guy get arrested, but I did hear Joe Biden got heckled a lot,
Okay.
and but there was a guy. He was
It was
a
like a Blue Star father or something.
Gold Star
Gold
father.
Star?
Yeah, so I mean, so he had a kid die in the service
Okay.
of the country, military dad, and he heckled Joe Biden, and he's for all like as of right now, all that we know is that the guy got arrested. We don't know if he's in jail,
Yeah, I don't
and
know the extent. I couldn't get much detail on it.
that just seems kind of petty because there's a lot of heckling. Marjorie Taylor Greene was very loud, and she
Okay.
was all decked out in Trump stuff.
That
So
figures.
yeah, but yeah, no, she was very loud.
What I noticed, because I looked that up and I didn't get a chance to study anymore on it or
Yeah,
read anymore on it, but what I noticed was the protests outside of the Capitol. That to me was amazing.
see, I know nothing about the protests.
Yeah, and there was so much of it. A lot of it had to do with Gaza and the
Yeah,
Palestinians and the Jews.
that
So
is everywhere.
I understand, but the mainstream media, as far as I could tell,
Silent.
pretty much silent on that. So they were talking about the genocide. There was big banners and stuff like that talking about the genocide and so forth. And where was that? I'd imagine if that was a Trump rally, they'd be spending more time
Oh
with
yeah,
the
all over it.
protesters. Exactly. Yeah, it's there's such a hypocrisy in the media. If you can't see it, it's glaring. Look at both sides. I mean, just do yourself a favor, look at both sides, and then analyze it.
Yeah.
And the right does this at times too.
Hmm.
Neither
Yeah, they
one.
do. And it's frustrating because you want to find the truth, but now you have to dig through like two different things and just kind of piece it together.
I watched a thing one time, and I think it was on Fox News, where they said, uh, Biden says we need to teach Muslim or Islam in schools. And I thought, let's see what really
Yeah,
happened here.
no, that's a little excessive.
Right. So I looked it up, and here he was at a school somewhere and said they should be teaching faith in school, whether it's Christian, Jewish, or Islam. We should be teaching more faith in school. And Fox News says, well, look, he's saying we need to teach Islam in schools. That's not right.
Yeah, it's
So there is some of that on both sides, but I do. I listen to NPR on a regular basis, and I apologize to the good Lord later. But um, got
actually
to go into the confessional. Bless me, Father, for I've
that's
sinned.
funny.
I listen to NPR again, and
Well, the
sends me
first
in the
time I
hole after
ever
a couple of years.
raged in a vehicle was listening to NPR.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, well, again, this ties back to talking about the Indians because they had an Indian lady on, or Native American, and she said she had generational trauma because of Wounded Knee. So she was traumatized because she had ancestors who lived at Wounded Knee. I was like, I don't think they really lived through that because that was a massacre.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, it was the first time. It's like, you can't have that. It doesn't make sense. And then this was during an election year, and I think there was a lot of controversy going on with the Redskins at the time. So it really kind of all pieces together, but they trot the Native American issues out just long enough so where they can use them as a cudgel to get votes. And then once they're done, back to the reservations. We don't want to look at you no more.
It is.
It's a history of that.
Oh,
It really
absolutely.
is. It's frustrating. It's
You
really sad because there are a lot like the tribes are really, really rich history and
absolutely.
like yeah.
Yeah, it's sad to see that happen, and then to see people get used in that way
Hmm.
and not realize they're getting used. You know.
That's kind of what I think that's what we're going to be seeing with this whole Gaza conflict. They're going to be squeezing it for as much money and power as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a pier they're going to try to build or a dock in Gaza for humanitarian aid.
Really?
Yeah, that's something Joe Biden brought up actually during the State of the Union. Also, according to him, the State of the Union is strong. I don't believe that. I don't know how you feel. I think the State of the Union is weak. We have fighting and contention all over. It's, I don't know. It's kind of rough. I hear a lot of people talk about civil war,
And I look at it this way: when we have what's the debt right now?
the national debt.
Right.
Oh my goodness, it's so bad, isn't it? It's
So there on that alone.
It's higher than our GDP.
I seen a number the other day, like every 100 days we're accruing another $1 trillion in debt or something
Yeah.
like that. Um, so if your business is strong, that doesn't mean you have a huge debt.
Yep.
You know, if you're fiscally strong in business or your household expenses or anything else, that means you're actually putting money aside. You're actually saving some or you're investing more. To say that our economy is doing so well, that our country is doing so well, when we are accruing more and more debt at the rate that we
Yeah.
are, the two just don't, that doesn't
Yeah.
balance at all. I do think we are still the greatest country in the world. I think we have
Yeah.
a lot of challenges we can overcome, but we're not going to overcome them sticking with the status quo and the way things are now.
Yep.
You know, things need to change. The way we do things need to change. We've talked about omnibus bills, you know, a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
here and there. I went off on a tirade the other day about that with somebody. Bonding bills in the state of Minnesota. You know, I believe we need to invest in roads, bridges, and infrastructure. Absolutely. But when our bonding packages are campaign fodder, you know, to get people elected, that's not bonding issues when it's just to prop a candidate up.
Yep.
Drives me nuts. So we really need to analyze how we're doing business, get back to the basics and education, you know, and we can bring this country, you know, back in line with what made it great in the first place.
Yep.
But I really really question the president's assessment and what he said about
Yeah,
it.
I really do too. And then I think we're gonna wrap it up by talking about crime really quick because you can't really have a strong society if it's just so ridden with crime. New York's city deployed the National Guard to the subway way system
When
recently.
was this?
It's like this week, this last week.
Really?
Yeah, very recently.
Rats get out of control?
Well, first of all, they're people, Mike.
Oh,
They're
I
people,
meant
not
real rats. I mean, this is New York,
yeah.
right?
No, not the animals. Just there's so much crime that happens. I heard a story that a train conductor got his throat cut. Yeah, it's
Ugh.
yeah, so
Well,
it's just so bad in the thing. Like people get sexually assaulted, fist fighting, the whole shebang, and they're deploying the National Guard to do that.
so
So instead of having the cops arrest people and actually throwing them in prison, you're gonna have the National Guard down there to do something.
that's a bad road to go down.
It is, but that's the
It
road that
really
they're going
is.
down.
But we've defunded the police. You know, we're so low on police officers in the state of Minnesota. And they do an amazing job. We lost more, I think it was 2 weeks ago in Burnsville, and it's making their life really hard, which makes our communities not safe. Um, and that's what makes me too to be such a defender of the Second Amendment
You have to, because
because you have to protect your hearth and home, right?
yeah, somebody's got to protect you, and the person who's most obligated to protect your house, your family, your own life is yourself.
Absolutely. So here we are listening to those crime statistics.
Hmm.
We know also that gun purchases, conceal and carry permits are way up.
Hmm.
People want to defend themselves, and yet we're going to regulate those people more instead of criminals.
Yeah,
You know, let's put criminals where they belong, and let's not back out on the streets. So there I go on a little rant again.
it's okay. You're the one who's in politics. It's
Sorry.
all good. It's practice. It's practice for your next campaign speech.
Perfect. I look forward to it.
It's all good. All right. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching Pints of Politics today. I'm Drew, Mike. We'll see you guys next time. God
Take care.
bless.